All right, what's going on, everybody? It's your good old boy JR coming to you live from Las Vegas, Nevada. For the people that don't know, I either go by JR, Raider Jr., Juan, whatever it is, Rodrigo, Rodriguez, depends on where you know me and what part of life you do know me from. But today, I am very excited to be back. It is the fourth season of the Silver and Bro Show. I am excited to be back to talk about the team that I care deeply for, and that is the Las Vegas Raiders. For the people that don't know what we do, usually me, my brother, guest, we get on, we talk about the Raiders with their weekly matchups, any news that comes out during the week, and everything like that. So we are just excited to be part of this. We cannot wait for this season to commence. And as always, you can catch us here on Instagram Live at the All Sports Talk podcast page. You can also follow our YouTube page at the Jack's Wild Sports Show. Make sure you hit that subscribe and hit that little notification bell to know that that's when we go live all the time. So that way you could come in, chat it up with us, enjoy the time. I always love chatting it up with people, and I also just like doing shows, however it goes, whatever the flow is. But we are ready, and we are ready. Raider Nation is probably ready for this new season to commence. So, after a successful 2021 season, well, actually, first, let me actually get this out of the way first because this has kind of been taking um, the league by storm a little bit, especially us Raider fans by storm, and that is the issue that is Chandler Jones. As far as what I know, is exactly what everybody else knows. He went on Instagram. He had a little, you know, little episode, I guess, if you want to call it that. And he has since then deleted the post, calling out McDaniels, calling out Ziegler, saying that he doesn't want to play for us anymore. Look, the best way I could put it when it comes to this type of situation, I think this is something more serious than just a not getting a workout in, not not going through his routine. Because you got to remember, these guys are on routine. They have scheduling to meet and everything, obviously. And today I think was just one of those days where, unfortunately, I think the building was closed. If I read somewhere correctly, where the weight room was closed or whatever the case may be, and no one was there. So I don't know. I don't know if there was just a miscommunication or maybe he didn't know that no one was there. But this is more serious than what people intended out to be. I just hope that he's in a good space and hopefully his mind is right. And whether he gets this video or not, whether if he ever sees this video, Chandler, not just Raider fans but football fans in general, we care for you. We love you. We just want to make sure that you're in a good space, because we're concerned, obviously. Seeing some of the stuff that he put on his feed and his stories, just kind of, we just want to make sure that we're here for you, we care for you, and we just want you to be in a good spot, man. And hopefully everything's okay with you in life, man. And so, just keep your head straight, and hopefully everything is okay. So that's we're gonna get that out of the way because obviously that was the big news coming into this morning when it came to Raider Nation everywhere. So that's the first thing. I just want to make sure that he knows that we're all thinking about him, and hopefully he's in a good headspace from where we're at. So next, obviously in today's episode we're going to talk about the offseason as far as free agency, the draft, preseason, and then we're also going to get into the week one matchup against the Denver Broncos. So after a successful 2021 season where the Raiders made the playoffs, the Raiders decided to bring in Josh McDaniels, new head coach Josh McDaniels, and general manager Dave Ziegler for the 2022-2023 season. Unfortunately, it was not as successful, even after trading for Devontae Adams, who was one of the top receivers again, and after having Josh Jacobs having one of the best rushing performances in Raider history, it was still not enough for the Raiders to get back into the playoffs. So a lot has changed. So let's just dive right into it because I know this is a topic that is just taking a story on its own, a fire on its own. And you know where I'm going to go with it. It's going to be the whole Derek Carr situation. So here it is. My thoughts on Derek Carr getting released. It is what it is. Look, can I stand up here? Can I sit here with you guys and say that these 9 years has it felt pretty comfortable knowing who the starting quarterback for the Raiders was gonna be after the performance after the abysmal quarterback carousel that we went through for all those years? Yes, it felt great. But can I also sit up here and say that, not all of it was his fault, but after 9 years, he just couldn't get it done? Can both be true at the same time? Absolutely, both can be true at the same time. Yeah, there's no question about it. Is he an NFL quarterback? Yes, he is an NFL quarterback. Was he the right one for us after 9 years? The answer is no. Look, and I get it. Did he get a fair shake? Did he get crappy, not to throw Vegas terms out there, but did he get a crappy hand at the table? Yeah, more than likely. I mean, if not majority of the time, but I can't also fault the Raiders for not trying. They tried drafting and it just never panned out. They tried drafting defensive players, didn't work out. They tried drafting offensive players, didn't work out sometimes. But the conception that these fans, these Raider fans that after 9 years, when 20 years, we've been dealing ever since that Super Bowl loss, we've been dealing with heartbreak after heartbreak after heartbreak. That after this, the Raiders releasing Derek Carr, this is the straw that broke the camel's back for you guys. Then yeah, I hope that you guys leave, honestly, because not to say that I'm not going to miss Derek. Sure, I'm going to miss Derek. I'm going to appreciate everything he did for the Raiders and everything. That's great. But at the end, what does it come down to? It comes down to winning. Did he win enough? Did the team win enough? No, the answer is no, they didn't. Two playoff appearances, no division titles, and this is the thing that gets me. There's some fans that believe Derek Carr is an elite quarterback, if even during his time with the Raiders. Well, if he's so elite, where are my division wins? As a fan, that's what I should be asking. Is he a good quarterback? Sure, he's a good quarterback. I'm pretty sure he's going to be a good quarterback with the Saints now that he has everything around him. Sure, he's got a better offensive line. He's finally going to have a better defense. He's going to have, a good wide receiver room. Obviously, Alvin Kamara is suspended, but they've signed Jamal Williams. So I expect Derek Carr to have a good year this year. And he's going to go to a division that is not as tough as the AFC West. The Panthers are kind of like in this rebuild mode. The Falcons, we don't know what they are. And Tampa Bay, well, they're back to being Tampa Bay. So do I believe Derek Carr is probably going to have a good year? Yeah. But that's not also going to dismiss the fact that he had 9 chances to get this right. And yeah, was there some times where the defense let us down? Yeah, absolutely. But is there a few times Derek Carr did, let's be real, throw away the game? Yeah, he did. The best way I can put with this whole because I know people are always going to ask, what is your opinion? And I've been asked this all off season. What is your opinion about Derek Carr leaving? And I'm finally going to tell it because now that I'm doing this show, I want to get on the show. The best, wish his family nothing but the best. That's it. He's gone. He's no longer a Raider. If you still feel any way about Derek Carr after this, good or bad, then honestly, you're no better than either or. If you really believe that Derek was the man and you hate for the Raiders what they did, go away. just you're more than free to walk away. And for the people out there that are still bashing him, saying that they wasted 9 years of their fanhood, it's over. It's over. You can drop it. It's gone. The pain is gone. You're good. Well, that's my opinion of Derek Carr. I wish him nothing but the best. I hope his family's good. I hope he has. Hope he does well in New Orleans. I hope he stays healthy. I hope he does everything that I know he's capable of doing. And I wish him nothing but the best. And that's it. I can only worry about the Raiders. That's the final time I'm going to talk about Derek Carr ever in a Raiders show. That's it. I don't care if maybe he'll come up in topics of best quarterback for the Raiders ever, or best players for the Raiders ever. Cool, but as far as right now, as this season goes on, this is going to be the last time I talk about Derek Carr. I wish him the best. I hope he stays healthy. I wish his family nothing but the best. And it's time to move on as a Raider fan. I'm more worried about the guys that are going to play on Sunday than what he's going to do on Sunday against Tennessee. Do not care. I wish him the best, though. So, now, moving on. After a bad year, not making the playoffs, the general manager Dave Ziegler and Josh McDaniels had did a little recruiting. They did a little free agency signings and everything, and they did some pretty good stuff. From Jacoby Myers, who I believe is going to be a pivotal part for Hunter Renfrow to really just focus on his specialty, which is the slot. And I think he's going to have a bounce back year because now when you bring in a Jacoby Myers, you drafted Trey Tucker, you bring in these other wide receivers. Hunter Renfrow is not going to be asked, and I've been saying this since he got in there. He's not going to be asked to do a lot of things anymore. As far as punt returns, kickoff returns, slot. I know he's capable of it, but I just want him to focus on one thing, and I think that's going to be a big pivotal part. That Jacoby Myers is now there, and he could play the number 2 option opposite of Devontae Adams, and he can just focus on the slot, and I think that's going to be a good thing. Also, I do like the fact that they brought in some, good defensive key pieces in every phase of the line of the defensive unit. Re-signing Jerry Tillery, a lot of people weren't really, it was 50-50 on who you talk to, but I'm really glad he is back because he did show, in the little time he spent with us, he did show some promise where I think now we found him a spot where I think the Chargers kind of misused him, and I think we found a spot for him where I think he'll shine. Obviously, when you were drafted in the first round, obviously you have talent, so I'm glad he's re-signed with us. We lose Denzel Perryman, but we bring in Robert Spillane, who on the little sparks of preseason that he did play, he showed that he can, be what he wants to be, and that is a run stuffing linebacker who's going to help us in that contain the edge, which is great for us, which is good for us. Also, getting Marcus Peters and Marcus Epps on the secondary is going to boost our secondary so much. What that does now, it gives us a true corner, which we've been missing probably since Casey Hayward left. Obviously, everybody has high expectations for Nate Hobbs and everything. But I think with Marcus Peters there, I think we're going to see somewhat of a copy of what Casey Hayward was when he was here with us for that one season. And obviously, Marcus Epps, I think is obviously it's probably a better upgrade than Jonathan Abram because now Trayvon Merrick can just focus and probably get back to what his rookie year looked like. So I expect Trayvon Merrick to have a bounce back year. I expect this defense to look a little bit better only because of the fact of free agency and what they did in the draft. Obviously, um, we held the 7th pick. There was discussions about moving up to get a quarterback. Obviously, after we let go of Derek Carr and bringing in Jimmy G, the discussion was, and that's another guy, Jimmy G, who is now going to be the new quarterback of the Raiders. Obviously, it depends on how you feel about him. Obviously, to me, how I see is I think he's going to fit scheme wise with us better than I think Derek could with a Josh McDaniels. And, it would have been vice versa if Jimmy G was with the Raiders during the John Gruden era. I don't think he would have fit with John Gruden. And that's the thing. I don't think Derek Carr was meant to fit in a Josh McDaniels offense. Um, Obviously, because everybody says it's the same. Well, apparently it's not because he regressed a lot. And, so again, that's sort of where I'm at. But I think Jimmy G fits with obviously Josh McDaniels' offense and what they're trying to run. And the big knock on Jimmy G that everybody talks about is like, oh, he doesn't have the big arm to do the deep throws or anything like that. He doesn't have to. He does not have to. This offense, yes, could be built for the big plays, the deep balls. But this offense is more run centric and just opening and finding the soft spots for the quarterback to make the play, to continue moving the chains, to continue killing the clock. That's what our offense is going to be, is to continue killing the clock so our defense can have time to rest up and be fresh, have fresh legs in the fourth quarter, as fresh as they can be. So, overall, I am a little excited on what they've done, from a free agency standpoint. And then obviously, when you look in the draft, um, but they held on to the seventh pick. Discussions about them moving up, which I believe that probably could have been a case, but they stuck to their gun and they took Tyree Wilson. And depending on who you ask, whether it was myself, my brother, family members, friends that are Raider fans as well, is everybody had a different opinion. Obviously Jalen Carter was there at 7. People were banging on the table for Jalen Carter, thinking we can get him right. Who knows? If you saw the show where me and my brother did our own mock draft for the Raiders, the night prior to the draft, we both went corner because if you look at it roster wise, everybody on this team, almost everybody, I think Nate Hobbs is the only one that has longer than 1 year on his contract. And so I'm thinking, man, we probably should get a corner here so we could start developing him and he'll be here for the long run. But the Raiders did what they had to do. And obviously, Dave Ziegler, um, after watching these couple last drafts for him now, it's clear to see that he likes to build the house from the bottom up and not, you know, back front. So what do I mean by that? He went with Tyree Wilson to play opposite of Max Crosby, to play alongside with Chandler Jones, try to do, and, he's such an athletic man that he could play linebacker too. He could play defensive end. He's going to be a key cog to how this defense is going to look like this year. Obviously, there was injury concerns with his foot and everything like that. But after that one game he played in Dallas in preseason, I think he looked fine. He looks fine physically. Now he just has to get ready football wise. Obviously he made a nice run stop and everything, and then there was a couple times, we all know the play where he pushed the right tackle, but he didn't finish it with the sack. And he's gonna learn. He's gonna learn. But just to see that type of play from him in such a few short snaps, I have every confidence in the world that he's gonna be a key part on this defense. Moving on, we traded away Darren Waller. So the big question was, what are we looking at tight end? When we signed at the time Austin Hooper, people, like, man, he might be a little bit long in the tooth. It might not be such, I don't know about a replacement for Darren Waller, but obviously when you get drafts, there's going to be people that fall into the second round that should have been drafted in the first. And we drafted him, and Michael Mayer, the tight end from Notre Dame, who a lot of people, including myself, had him pegged as a first round tight end. He should have gone in the first round, but for whatever reason, he fell through the cracks. Dave Ziegler traded up because we had the draft capital to trade up, and we traded with the Colts. at that time we got Michael Mayer, and and just the little preseason games that he did play. Um, it's very nice to know that he looked good in some spots, and I think he's going to be amazing. He still has to work on his run blocking because there was a couple times where he made a couple nice run blocks. First preseason game and the second preseason game, he did a little bit better, but there was a couple times you could see that he got a little destroyed a little bit. But obviously, we're going to use him more in the passing game, which is going to be his specialty. And I think that's a great way to replace Darren Waller, who, I'm not saying that he's going to have Darren Waller attributes right away, but at least you drafted a tight end that has potential and everything. Then moving on to the third round, where we selected twice, Byron Young, defensive tackle out of Alabama. Look, nothing. When it comes to Alabama, if you want a defensive player, just look at Alabama. Will Anderson, Eli Ricks, Brian Branch, Byron Young. I can go on and on and on. Alabama they just developed NFL defensive players. That's what it is. And we got one in Byron Young, who obviously he's gonna have to grow into his body. Obviously, he's still a little kid. I want to say a little kid, but you're old as I am. Everybody looks like a kid, but he's still a kid walking into an NFL man's world. He still has to develop into his NFL body, but in just a little time as well, he showed some guts. He showed some, promise and everything. And obviously, he's a work in progress, but I think he did well enough to where you have a little bit of like, okay, maybe there is something there where down the road, maybe he can crack the starting lineup. And then obviously pick number 100, Trey Tucker, the wide receiver from Cincinnati. This pick for me was kind of like a 50-50 for me at the time. I really wanted DeJuan Jones, the right tackle from Ohio State. He ended up going to Cleveland, and he ended up having a good preseason. So we'll see how that translates into the regular season. But for me, Trey Tucker was kind of 50-50 this preseason. There were some nice things he did, but I would be amiss to say that he probably missed a couple key drops to keep the drive going or make a nice play. Obviously, there was that mishap of the kickoff return where immediately when he got to the sideline, DeAndre Tucker was already in his ear telling him, hey, man, just let it go next time. Just get it and just take a knee. No reason for you to do that, because when he did that, very next play, Brian Hoyer throws a pick six. So obviously, and then again, they're all rookies. They're going to learn their mistakes. They're going to learn everything. But there was a couple times where he made some great catches, and I'm like, man, this is great. And then there's a couple times where he messed up, and obviously he's going to learn. He's going to have to learn. So obviously, it's 50-50. He's going to be a special teams guy right now. He's probably just going to be on kickoff, punt return duties and everything because of the speed that he has. And I'm sure he'll get into some passing plays, but I wouldn't really expect much. I think this is more of a develop him and see where he goes from here. So we'll see how this goes. And now the fourth round, so 4 picks later, we drafted a corner, Corian Bennett, the cornerback out of Maryland. He played opposite of Deonte Banks, who went in the first round to the New York Giants. And then we actually have somebody right now. I think that's him. Oh, there he is. So if anybody's on Instagram Live and you see that lovely face right there, that is my brother. He is also a Raider fan as well. Julian, what's going on, my man?
What's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How you? Hey, mommy, what's up? My little niece now. What's going on, bro?
How you doing, man? What are you guys talking about? Are you talking about Raider football without me?
Well, you know me, man. You know me. It was time, and the season's about to start here in a couple days, so we have to get the ball rolling. So
nice.
I'm just going over the draft class right now.
What do you got this season?
I'm sorry, what?
How many wins you got the Raiders getting this season?
Right now I have them anywhere between 8 and 9. I am actually going to be I'm going to be a little bit more what's the word I'm looking for? Positive. That's the word I'm looking for. I'm going to be a little positive.
Vegas has them winning.
I think, what was it, 6.5, 7.5?
6.5, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, why can't I see you?
I don't know. I think your camera's off. I don't know, but no.
Can you see me?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I think they can go anywhere between 8 and 9 wins. I think I truly believe, like, and I know this is gonna sound, like kind of funny because we've been saying it for a long time, but I really think this defense has improved. I think they brought in the right guys to, change the direction of the defense. I think we finally got guys that are going to fall under the Patrick Graham style of defense that we're trying to run. And I think they brought in the right guys on what we're going to do, what they need to do. So I'm really optimistic that I'm not really worried about the offense because I know Josh McDaniels takes care of that. And I know he's going to get them right. But I think with what we did in free agency, what we did in the draft, I really believe that, I think this defense is going to improve and it's only going to get better as time goes on.
Yeah, I agree. Did you talk about what happened with Chandler Jones today?
I did. I did. I talked about it that was the very first thing I wanted to get out, again, all I said was like, look, I don't know what's going on. I think it's just something bigger than what it really is. And I just hope that mentally he's in a good spot because obviously, I don't know, maybe he got, because you know how it is. We all have routine. We all have a schedule that we like to follow. And if we get thrown off just a little bit, sometimes we do go a little, I wouldn't say crazy, but it does kind of like hinder our day a little bit. And hopefully it was just one of those things where, hey, maybe something happened where it threw him off his scheduling and, he just had a little episode. And I just hope that he's just in a good headspace.
Yeah, that's what I read. I heard that it was something he deleted everything after, and who knows? I mean, honestly, I had a real busy schedule today, work-wise, and I really didn't get to read everything that I wanted into it. But I heard when it broke, and then after that, it was just kind of everybody was just kind of like up in arms, like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Some people speculating that he's no longer a Raider.
No, I mean as far as I know, I know what you know, and he's still on the team. He deleted everything on Instagram, and all I can really hope for is that he's in a right space mentally, obviously, and maybe it was just a bad day, and hopefully tomorrow they clear it up, and then he gets ready for week 1.
Yeah, I'll speculate a little bit on it. I really feel, and obviously just to get on with your show, I don't want to take up a lot of your time, but I'll speculate. I think with the news breaking today that they're trying to renegotiate deals to bring down cap money. Maybe he was one of the ones that they asked, and we're kind of like, hey, either bring it down or we cut you or something. I don't know. Obviously, that's just me speculating.
I know they restructured Jimmy G. I know they restructured Jimmy G's contract to where because I know we're under the cap now, so we're good to head into the season. So we're good. I don't know if maybe that was it. I couldn't really tell you. Because obviously what you know is what I know. And that's as far as it. I'm sure when something comes out, we'll all know together basically. So the only thing I want is for him to be in a good headspace. Hopefully tomorrow, maybe he can at least clear it up. Maybe not to the media, but to at least, something to where he makes a statement or something and he's, it clears up and then we can just move on past this and everything. So.
There you go. Cool, man. Oh, yeah, I just wanted to pop in, say hello. Hopefully everybody's doing well. And, yeah, I'm excited just like everybody else for the season to start. Hope the Silver and Black does big things. I don't think, obviously, let's be real. I don't think the Raiders are going all the way. But this is a year that I really, really do expect for them to start making, headway.
Strides. You expect them to start making strides, basically.
Exactly. If you think about it, with the coach that they have now and they have the pieces in place, this is something like uncharted territory that I think, honestly, we haven't seen in a long time where we're actually structured to do right decisions. The whole holdout with Josh Jacobs, kind of the way that I look at that was just like the team kind of just looking at it like, hey, we're going to be a smart organization now. We're going to do things the right way now. You know, a lot of people kind of look at that as fans, and it's just like, hey, what the hell? Josh Jacobs should be
right. Yeah.
And it's like, no, you don't run a franchise like that anymore.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. No. And we've had conversations outside of social media and obviously here. And, I've thrown in my 2 cents, and the first question that, I always got asked is like, do you think Josh Jacobs is going to be a Raider? I'm like, yeah, he's going to be a Raider. He just doesn't want to go to camp. Like, for what?
Well,
I mean, he doesn't want. Here's the thing: like, if he has no workout bonuses, if he's just on a tag, why do I want to go to camp and get hurt, and then my season's done anyway? So you might as well just. And I get it. Look, when you lead the league in rushing, you want a little bit more money. Who doesn't, right? When you feel like you do above work, above great work, you deserve you deserve to get paid a little bit more, right? That's every mindset. That doesn't matter if you're a professional athlete or a regular Joe that does 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, right? That's everybody. And that's basically what it was to me. It was just like, okay, well, I'll play the tag, but I did lead the league in rushing. I want a little bit more. And then obviously, when the Giants did what they did when they gave Saquon that upgraded tag, obviously Josh looked at it and said, I need more than that, man. So that's fine. I'm happy it got done. I'm happy it's over with. I'm happy he's back in the building. It's just a little weird to see him with the his old college number 8. It's a little weird because they showed it out and everything, and I was just kind of like, oh yeah, that's Josh Jacobs' new jersey number 8. I totally forgot about that. But
yeah, that's kind of weird to me too. By the way, it's just like, hey, bro, if that's what you were in college, like, let it be. That's what you were in college. You're in the big leagues now. 28. I thought 28 fit him very well. I really like that number on him.
I mean, I did too. But hey, you know what? It's just that's the new wave now, and now that these rules say you can wear single-digit numbers, and hey, I mean that's cool with me. I mean, it's not gonna. It's just kind of a little weird, but yeah, no, I knew he was coming back. I know. Again, there's just fans that just love to go straight to the what's it called? Just straight to the fire, basically. Of what's he doing? This is an outrage, and it's like, no, dude, like. And like you said, we just have, for the first time, it just feels like we have a head coach and a general manager that just, okay, we're going to do business as usual. The people that are here,
we're going to do business the right way.
The people that are here are here. Yeah,
because the old way that they were doing things here was just, it was outdated, man. They were just, still trying to throw money at players that were, what I mean, stars in other places, and it just doesn't work that way. You have to run like a functional franchise, which means,
and that's basically what they did. They basically said, okay, I mean, because obviously, there was reports about, Josh Jacobs missing time, and I'm like, he ain't gonna miss time, bro. He ain't gonna miss time. He needs his money. He needs his money. So, I was never worried about it. So that's why I said, yeah, he's gonna be a Raider, and he'll show up when he's ready to show up. That's it. And luckily, they got a deal done. I'm glad he's back in the building. Now he just has to get ready against Denver, and hopefully he's been training because, what is it, 6 practices, 7 practices? We'll see. We'll see. So, because obviously there's being in shape and then there's being in football shape. So hopefully he did enough to at least be in football shape against, Denver. So we'll see.
Yep. Well, we'll see, man. It's Denver this week, and I'll give you my prediction already. With game 1, I don't really know what's going to happen because with Denver, having Sean Payton as their new coach, and the Raiders on the second year, I really just look at it as honestly, like, I don't think we mop them, but I think we put up some good points, and our defense holds. I think we 21 to like 17. I think.
Yeah, Denver's another team too that everybody had high hopes last year, and it just didn't fall their way. Unfortunately, that's just how it goes. I don't have to tell you. You've been watching football just as long as I have, and sometimes you go into the season with high hopes that you think you have all the right pieces, and then it just doesn't work out. It happens. But Denver's a team that, they restructured a lot of things too, offensively, defensively, just like how the Raiders did. And now, they feel like they have the right pieces to really go somewhere. So I think it's going to be an exciting game. I can't give out a prediction today because I'm going to be doing that tomorrow with Brandon. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, no, I think it's going to be a really fun game. And, hopefully, hopefully we get the better results at the end of it. How does that sound?
Exactly. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I'm excited, man. Like I said, you already know I won't be able to watch the game with you this weekend.
That's
I'll
fine.
actually be in Denver.
Yes.
I will be in Denver. Not at the game, but I will be out there in that area.
Right.
So I'll be watching the game out there, and then we'll see. We'll see what happens. I really think that the Raiders need to start off by having a win, just because it just gets their
it gets their morale up, and then obviously after Denver, obviously seeing the schedule, it's like it's only going to get tougher from here. So if they can get a win, at Denver, then honestly it boosts their morale to feel like, okay, we can do this. We can do this. So it's going to be exciting. So I can't wait.
Yep. All right, man. Well, good chatting with you. Just wanted to pop in and say hello. Hope everybody's doing well out there. I know there was a couple people that joined in. Just wanted to say what's up. Go Raiders. It's going to be a good season. I'm happy for football. Happy for college football. Just happy. Sports is amazing right now. I'm super excited. I'm really happy.
Yeah. I mean, poor TCU, but other than that, everybody's fine.
Poor TCU. I mean, they played their hearts out, dude. It's just
it wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough.
Colorado's something else right now. I just hope that they can keep it going, man, because you know what? They got a decent team.
It would be nice.
I don't know if they're that experienced yet.
Yeah, that's the only thing. Like, TCU, Nebraska, that's all fine and dandy, but we'll see how it looks by like either week 5 or 6 when they have to go to USC for that conference game. For that conference game, and we'll see how it look. We'll see how for real they look at that point. So we'll see. Hopefully, right?
Yes.
So we'll see.
Yep.
But all right, my man. Well, thank you for tuning in, man. And then enjoy your trip to Denver. Say hi to Omar for me, and then we'll keep in touch. And then just don't yell too much. I know you can yell pretty loud. I want to watch the game in peace. Okay.
All right, buddy. I'll catch you guys later.
Later, man. Bye. So that was my brother. If you were on the Instagram live on the Old Sports Talk podcast, that was my brother live who tuned in. So I want to thank him for that. As like I said, Jacorian Bennett, who played opposite of Deonte Banks, who went in the first round for the New York Giants. Obviously, there's a lot to like. Obviously, he's a classic draft prospect, height, weight, speed type of guy. He's another project that we're going to have to just wait and see. And we waited 31 more picks, and we went into the 4th round again, and where we pretty much drafted a quarterback. Now everybody just couldn't stop talking about him throughout this whole preseason. That was Aiden O'Connell, quarterback out of Purdue. Let me put it to you like this. Preseason is really vanilla offense, vanilla defense. So it's very hard to get a feel. You can only get a feel of like how they look. But then there's just times where a player, even when it's vanilla offense, vanilla defense, that just excels at a faster rate than everybody else. And that's what Aiden did. Aiden O'Connell really did some wonderful things in this preseason. And I think every game he just did great. He did it as good as you want him to look. Obviously, the San Francisco game took up to the atmosphere of who is this kid? And he did it against the Rams again. And then everybody's like, yeah, that's Aiden O'Connell. And even though, Dallas was a loss, you could tell he made some really nice pro throws. And, that's what he is. He is a pro quarterback. Again, that probably fits better in a Josh McDaniels system better than anybody else, than majority of these quarterbacks here. But Aiden, it was very impressive to know the fact that, we drafted him in the 4th. He looked great against, second stringers, third stringers. He did as good as you want him to be, and I'm very happy for him. Obviously, he wasn't going to start because that's where Jimmy G comes into play. So unfortunately, that was out of the cards. So it is what it is. But it feels very good to know that we have, well, can't say three. I would say two serviceable one and one veteran in the quarterback room to make the quarterback room at least decently good. Then heading into the fifth round, we drafted Christopher Smith, the safety out of Georgia. Obviously, as you know, Georgia's just been on a tear these last couple of years, and he's been one of the better. What he lacks in size, he makes up for football intelligence, football IQ, football awareness, play recognition. He was just everywhere in the backfield, and he's a scrappy little kid. He's a scrappy kid, very quick, very athletic, and what he lacks in size, he makes up in his football intelligence. So I'm very happy that he's part of the safety room, and obviously he gets to learn from Morig and Marcus Epps for the next couple of years. So obviously I'm very happy about that. Next up, we have Amari Burney taken in the sixth round, the linebacker out of Florida. Let me tell you, there was not a single play where he was never involved if the running game was there. Um, he did everything he had to do, from the hits he did, um, from the tackling to the sack that he got against the 49ers. Almost an interception too, but if defensive players can catch, they'd be playing wide receivers or tight end. But it is what it is. But what he did, he's shown that he could be a serviceable linebacker, not just in the depth, but in special teams as well, where he's really going to make his money. He's really going to make his claim to fame is in that special teams unit, and I can't wait to see what he looks like. Um, and then lastly, but not least, the seventh round pick, Nesta Jade Silvera from the University of Miami, but he transferred to Arizona State his senior year, who just looked the part of an NFL defensive tackle. He just looks the part, and it got him a job to where, obviously, as you know, Matthew Butler and was cut, brought back to the practice squad. Neil Farrell got traded to Kansas City. And honestly, that's what it came down to. It came down to work ethic. And Nesta Jade Silvera had better work ethic than those two guys. And that's why he made the team and they didn't. So I was very happy for this kid. I'm very happy for this kid to. It's going to be nice because there was talks about should we let him go. I knew this much. If we let him go, somebody was going to pick up a great developmental defensive tackle that they were going to make him into a starter down the road or just a good rotational player. But I'm glad the Raiders kept him so we can develop him the way we want him to be developed. And he's going to be part of the tenure of that defensive line room. So I'm very happy for him that he made the team. Now, as far as preseason went, my favorite, my awards for preseason offensively, obviously, offensive, player for preseason, it's got to be Aiden O'Connell. I mean, he did everything right. He did everything right. I mean, there was not a time where, even when he did get pressure, people said that he's just a pocket dude and he doesn't have any mobility. He escaped a couple times, and that's what and I think that's what's more impressive is that he was able to continue to develop his game, and hopefully, I'm not, knocking on wood, but hopefully, maybe we found something special down the road. So, but as far as right now, just want him to continue to learn and develop. Defensive Player of the Year. This was really hard to me. I think this was really hard because it could have gone so many ways. It really could have gone so many ways. At one point I had, Amari Burney 1 week. Next week I had Nesta Jade Silvera or Brian Young. Next week I had Nesta Jade Silvera. But again, I'm just gonna go with what I saw, and that was Nesta Jade Silvera. I think he was there for almost every run stop play. You just see him making a play, doing what he had to do. He was just everywhere, and I'm very happy to know that when you can draft players like this in the later rounds, it just helps your team, because obviously every team's got 7 picks, do the math. Every team has 7 picks because of 7 rounds. And every fan base wants to find 7 immediate starters. That's not going to happen. It's very hard to do. It's almost near impossible. But when you can find players that you can develop and that could be part of the team for long term, that's when you know you had a good draft. And hopefully this draft class sticks around for a long time. And hopefully this is a draft class that we can look back, 3, 4 years from now and say, man, this is probably the draft class that turned it around. So, and special teams award, I'm going to go with Curtis Bolton, the linebacker. The odds are stacked against you, especially in today's NFL when you're a linebacker and when you're playing for depth. It's also hard when you're undrafted. But the fact that the kid kept making play after play on special teams, whether it was blocking, being at the gunner position, making the tackle, I could see why we kept him. That's how you make your bread. When you got a good special teams unit. Remember, football's 3 phases, and if all 3 phases are good, chances are you're going to have a good season. So, I mean, Curtis Bolton to me was the special teams player of this preseason. So congratulations to those 3. Now, as far as free agent signing, I'm going to give you my opinion on my favorites. So obviously, offensively, it might be a little cheap, and some people might not like it because he comes from New England. But Jacoby Myers was probably my favorite offensive free agent signing. The reason I say that is because whether it was Jimmy G, whether it was somebody else, the fact that we now have a solid number 2 wide receiver on the team, it just, it'll open up a lot of stuff for others. Hunter Renfrow can focus on being a slot receiver. Christian Wilkerson can be the 4th option. DeAndre Carter and Trey Tucker can focus on special teams and passing. It just makes the wide receivers just breathe a little bit better. So that's why I have him as my favorite. And defensively, I mean, I don't think I have to introduce him any more than Marcus Peters. Obviously, coming off an ACL injury, it's very hard. And unfortunately for Baltimore, they probably, did that for that reason. But since he's been back, he played. Now he's back. And now Marcus Peters is on our team, who, if anybody's seen that interview when Jonathan Abram was a rookie, he started yapping at Marcus Peters, getting into it. And Marcus Peters probably said something he probably shouldn't, saying, you might wear the Raider gear, but the Raiders are my team. And this is when he was still with the Rams. So that's always going to be my favorite clip, knowing that happened. But, I'm very happy that Marcus Peters is with us. And like I said, I think he only elevates the secondary as a whole. Safety, corners, I think he elevates it to where they're going to play their hearts out because he's going to play his hearts out. So that was my favorite. Now, obviously, when it comes to cuts, there's always going to be a couple surprises of who got cut and who stayed. So for me, my surprise cut in this year's preseason, Duke Shelley, the cornerback that we signed from Minnesota, he is now with the Los Angeles Rams. I think it was a mistake. I truly think it was a mistake. I think between him and Amik Robertson, I probably would have stuck with Duke Shelley. I love Amik. It's just, with Amik, it's always hit or miss. It's always he's either gonna have a good game or he's just gonna be so bad. It's just not good. And after so I think Duke Shelley showed enough to where I'm surprised that they, I knew something was up when they started playing him in the 4th preseason game, and I was kind of thinking, so he's really not a lock to make the team. And sure enough, he didn't make the team. And I thought he had a good camp. I thought he had a good preseason, and I'm very, especially after what happened in Minnesota and how well he did, I thought Duke Shelley would have really made this team, and I think he would have really helped this team a little bit better. Unfortunately, that's just not the route that the Raiders went. So, that was my surprise cut in Duke Shelley. So I wish him all the best in Los Angeles, and hopefully he does well. Um, Now, a player that I am surprised that did make the team, this could have been either way. Whether it was Justin, I mean, I'm surprised Justin Horan made the team, but at the time when they put Dalton Wagner in IR, that's when I realized, that's why he made the team. Because if Dalton Wagner did not land on IR, I think Justin Horan would have been the team. I'm very shocked that Brian Hoyer made the team, especially with the new quarterback rule of third emergency quarterback. That if at that point, if you have to go to your third quarterback, your season's down the drain. And I think there's better options out there for a third string quarterback than Brian Hoyer. But to me, I'm going to go with Brandon Bolden. I'm very shocked that he made the team because I don't know where his value is going to be. Um, you have Josh Jacobs back. Zamir White, who I was a little disappointed in this preseason because I think there was a time where with Josh, we didn't know the whole. I mean, I knew Josh Jacobs was going to be coming back, but there was a time for Zamir White to show his worth for the NFL. It was this preseason, and unfortunately, um, he had some nice runs, but he's just a power back, and that's about it. He doesn't attempt to make the tackler miss. He actually invites the tackler to make the tackle. Nothing to where I'm like, okay, this is probably a dude where we can feel comfortable. I didn't feel comfortable at all. Should Josh Jacobs go down? Um, you know, but again, when it comes to Brandon Bolden, where does he fit? Josh Jacobs is obviously your bell cow. So Amir White's probably going to be your go-to running back, short yardage running back. Amir Abdullah is your third down running back in passing situations. So where does Brandon Bolden fit? Will he be an extra running back to block? Is he going to be, a healthy scratch majority of the year? I really don't get the value of bringing Brandon Bolden on this team. I think I would have preferred three running backs and maybe another offensive lineman or defensive lineman or whatever the case may be. Maybe that would have been Duke Shelley's spot. Just saying, coach. But I really don't know where maybe I don't know because I'm not in the building, so I don't know what value he does bring to the team. So we'll see. We'll see. But that was kind of my surprise player on who really did make the team. So that was very surprising. So that's the recap of the offseason. Now let's get into week one. So week one is here. It's against the Denver Broncos. The Raiders have won 6 in a row against this team. And the Broncos are doing everything they can to be competitive again. Last year, they brought in Russell Wilson. This year, they brought in Sean Payton to be the head coach of this team. And, Russell Wilson, when he came out, he said he idolized Drew Brees because that's who he felt was the closest thing to him, where he says he can copy, he felt like that was his style of quarterback play. Well, now you get the coach who made him that way. I mean, I wouldn't say made him. He looked good with the Chargers, and then he got, he elevated his game in New Orleans. So I think that's where, that's the question when it comes to this Broncos team. Can Sean Payton revamp Russell Wilson and this whole offense after a disappointing year last year? Obviously, new and improved defense. Zach Allen, he's now there. Frank Clark is now out there. So, they drafted Drew Sanders, who had high praises during this NFL draft. Patrick Surtain is one of the better corners in this league. So can they continue to, obviously, they signed Mike McGlinchey to take care of the right tackle side for the Denver Broncos. But again, here we are again. It's another year and it's another problem in that wide receiver room. It's another injury bug. Jerry Jeudy is questionable. I expect him to play, but how healthy is he really? Tim Patrick and Virgil got put on IR. They're done for the year. And obviously, Cortland Sutton is back, but he's coming back from an ACL injury as well. And they drafted Marvin Mims, the wide receiver out of Oklahoma. So we'll see. Maybe he gets a little bit more playing time than he was expecting to. So we'll see how that goes. But overall, the key factors in this game for me, is, one, you cannot let the fact that Sean Payton's back, scare you. Remember, this is the reason, there's a reason he retired. He retired because, you know, the team wasn't there anymore. He feels like this is a good team, but they cannot put you in a situation where you have to be ready to coach him up one on one. So you have to attack Sean Payton. That's one. Two, offensively, you know, what we're looking for, and this is, why you did what you did, Josh and Dave, you let go of Carr because, you had to switch things around because, the red zone was a problem. Well, that's what I want to see. I want to see better execution in the red zone this year. That's the key thing. If they can execute better in the red zone, and not just in this game, but as the season goes on, I truly expect the Raiders, because the problem is the Raiders were ranked the 12th best offense in the league last year, but we're one of the worst, one of the, not one of the better ones when it comes to red zone touchdowns. So that has to improve. Defensively, all the pieces are there. Max Crosby, Jerry Tillery, Chandler Jones, Tyree Wilson, Marcus Epps, Marcus Peters, Trayvon Morig, Robert Spillane, Divine Diablo, Jaleel Nicholas. Nate Hobbs is going to come back as well. Patrick Graham is on watch because you have your pieces now. You brought in your guys. You brought in your pieces. You have to do better. I'm not saying that you have to go from, what you were last year to the 85 Bears. No, but you have to improve as a unit, because that's going to be our make or break to know if we're heading in the right direction or if we're still trying to figure this whole thing out. So to me, the defense is just play better. It's just you got to improve. Play hard. Don't worry about making mistakes. And if you do make a mistake, you have to forget about it. That's been the problem with this defense for a while. They make a mistake, and it just seems like they falter. When the Rams on that Thursday night football game, on that bogus penalty that Jerry Tillery got, it just seems like the defense just deflated after that. They have to play better. They have to play hard, and they have to not worry about making mistakes. Make the plays. It will come to them. That's the key. If the defense just improves to bending and not breaking, I think this team can be really exciting to watch this year. And that's going to determine to know if we're heading in the right direction or if we're going to have to revamp everything again next offseason. So we'll see. But, it's going to be an exciting game. It's always fun when the Raiders and the Broncos meet. I do get a little upset though that we haven't been on Monday Night Football in a while, because something always weird happens when it's Monday Night Football, whether it's us blocking a kick in the snow or a rookie wide receiver named Eddie Royal dusting D'Angelo Hall for like almost 200 yards. So something weird always happens when the Raiders and Broncos meet on Monday night, but I'll take what I can get. This is going to be a good matchup game because I think everybody is just so matched up well. Patrick Surtain versus Devontae Adams, Frank Clark versus Colton Miller, Zach Allen versus Jermaine Illuminor, Max Crosby versus Mike Litchi again, Chandler Jones, Tyree Wilson trying to get through Garrett Bowles, Marcus Peters versus Cortland Sutton, Javonte Williams versus Robert Spillane and Marcus Epps. It's going to be an exciting game. And especially in Denver, the kicking game is going to be amazing. So it's going to be very fun to watch. So I cannot wait for this weekend's game. But that's going to do it for today. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, whether it was on Instagram Live or here on YouTube. Again, the YouTube page is called the Jax Wild Sports Show. So just find us on YouTube, click the subscribe button, hit the little bell on it as well. So whenever we do go live, you guys are more than welcome to join in the conversation as well. We will be back next Tuesday to recap the Broncos game and looking forward to the Week 2 matchup against the Buffalo Bills at Buffalo tomorrow as well on the same time, same channel. I will be back with my brother Brandon We will have our NFL picks for week 1, where we will do our predictions for week 1. So if you guys want to tune back in, we'll be back here tomorrow, 6:30 Pacific Standard Time. I cannot wait. Until then, everybody, please have a wonderful night. Please be safe. And as always, go Raiders, man. Have a wonderful night, everybody.